In a world driven by the ceaseless clamor of voices, the art of silence often feels like a forgotten skill. Yet in the depths of our own being, we sense a profound truth: the power of restraint. The Stoics, those ancient guardians of wisdom, teach us that silence is not merely the absence of sound, but a deliberate choice, a fortress against the tumult of destructive emotions. As we explore the 9 situations where silence becomes our greatest ally, let us journey together towards self-control and fortitude, cultivating a spirit that rises above the chaos. The call to silence. We stand at the edge of a storm, winds howling, waves crashing against the shore. The external chaos mirrors our internal turmoil. In these moments, when the world demands our voice, the Stoics invite us to pause, to reflect, to choose silence. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, observed, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Here, we begin to understand that our emotional responses can often cloud our judgment, leading us to speak when we should remain silent. Number 1. In moments of anger, that fiery tempest within, compels us to lash out, to assert our will upon others. Yet as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When faced with provocation, our instinct may be to respond fiercely, but silence in these moments allows us to regain control, to reflect rather than react. By embracing stillness, we create space for reason to prevail over wrath, transforming anger into understanding. Number 2. When provoked by ignorance. In the face of ignorance, our first impulse might be to educate, to enlighten those who have strayed from reason. However, Epictetus cautions us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Instead of engaging in fruitless debates or futile arguments, we must recognize that some minds are not ready for enlightenment. Silence serves as our shield against the distractions of unworthy discourse, preserving our energy for pursuits that truly matter. Number 3. During unnecessary conflicts. Conflict, an inevitable part of human existence, often arises from misunderstandings or differing opinions. Yet, not every disagreement warrants a response. In such instances, we may recall the wisdom of Seneca, who stated, "It is the mark of a good man to be at peace with himself." By choosing silence over confrontation, we create a space for calm reflection, allowing time to dissolve animosities and foster understanding. Our restraint can be a powerful catalyst for harmony. Number 4. In the presence of gossip. Gossip, like a shadow that darkens our intentions, serves no purpose but to sow discord. It thrives on the weaknesses of others, tempting us to join in the fray. Yet, the Stoic principle of focusing on virtue reminds us that engaging in such behavior diminishes our character. As Marcus Aurelius wisely proclaimed, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. By remaining silent amidst gossip, we safeguard our integrity, choosing to rise above the fray rather than be dragged down by it. Number 5. When facing criticism. Criticism can cut deep, evoking a cascade of defensive emotions. Yet the Stoics teach us that we are the architects of our own reactions. Instead of retaliating or defending ourselves, we can embrace silence as a tool for introspection. Seneca once noted, "The things we love are not the things that are to be found in the world." In the face of critique, let us remember that our worth is not determined by others' perceptions, but by our own adherence to virtue. Silence allows us to absorb feedback without succumbing to destructive self-doubt. Number 6. In situations of despair. Despair, a heavy shroud that can suffocate our spirit, often compels us to vocalize our suffering. Yet, as we reflect on the Stoic ideal, we learn that in our darkest moments, silence can be our greatest ally. The impediment to action advances action. Epictetus reminds us, when faced with despair, rather than giving voice to our troubles, we can choose silence to find resilience within. In stillness, we may discover the strength to rise, to take measured steps toward recovery, rather than wallowing in our pain. Number 7. When others seek validation. In a society rife with the need for external validation, we may feel compelled to voice our opinions to gain approval. However, the Stoic understanding of self-sufficiency teaches us that true contentment lies within. Marcus Aurelius stated, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When confronted with the desire for validation, we must remember that silence fortifies our self-worth, allowing us to cultivate inner peace rather than seeking it from others. Number 8. During times of temptation. Temptation, that siren call that lures us into compromising our values, often manifests in moments when we are most vulnerable. In these instances, silence can serve as a powerful deterrent. As Seneca wisely noted, the bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity. When faced with temptation, we can harness the strength of silence, refusing to give voice to desires that distract us from our true purpose. In this quiet resistance, we find our fortitude. Number 9. When contemplating our mortality. The contemplation of mortality is perhaps the most profound of human experiences. In these moments, the Stoics encourage us to embrace silence as a means of reflection and acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Instead of speaking recklessly in the face of our finite existence, silence allows us to appreciate the weight of our choices, urging us to live with intention and purpose. In this awareness, we find clarity and resolve, the path to self-control and fortitude. As we traverse these 9 situations, we realize that the art of silence is not merely a passive state, but an active choice that demands courage and discipline. Each moment of restraint strengthens our ability to navigate the tumultuous waters of life. The Stoics offer us a profound understanding of the human condition, guiding us toward a life of virtue and inner peace. In embracing silence, we cultivate a deep awareness of our emotions, learning to differentiate between what deserves our voice and what is better left unspoken. This discipline empowers us to rise above the fleeting turbulence of life, grounding us in a sense of purpose that transcends external validation. Conclusion. The call to action. As we stand at the crossroads of our existence, let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Silence, when wielded with intention, transforms our lives in profound ways. It is not merely the absence of noise, but the presence of thought, reflection, and integrity. We are called to embrace these moments of silence, to cultivate the strength that comes from restraint. In a world that often values volume over substance, let us choose the path of the Stoics, where silence becomes our steadfast companion. Together, let us strive toward self-control and fortitude, rising above the chaos and embracing the wisdom of our inner selves. The journey begins now. Let us walk this path with purpose, united in our quest for a life well lived.